Hello and welcome back to the channel, Lab of Bonsai. So as a beginner or even advanced, the worst thing that can happen is having a tree die on you. It's the saddest thing, especially when we are beginners. So hopefully with this video, I'm able to help you save your tree and avoid it from dying. There's different reasons why a tree will die, but the main ones are usually caused by things that we do and we don't really pay attention to. So the first thing is keeping a tree indoors. So trees, just like any other tree that you see, they are outside. They are not regular plants that could be inside. Now, don't get me wrong, there is some species that are able to survive inside under the right conditions, like ficuses or jades. However, I know it's really tempting to keep a juniper inside of the house, in the desk, at the office, kitchen, whatever you can think of. These trees belong outside. Most of the trees will do so much better outside, either under full sunlight or some partial shade, morning sunlight. But keeping a juniper inside, you're pretty much guaranteed to have that tree die on you slowly. Those trees need sunlight. That's how they do photosynthesis. That's how they get their nutrients and start growing. So they belong outside pretty much like any other tree. At least 6 hours of full sunlight. Of course, some protection from pretty harsh sun. But trees do way better outside. So the next one is overwatering. And this is the reason why most of my trees died as a beginner. So what happens is when you overwater a tree, it causes root rot, which is some type of bacteria or fungus that grows on the root system, and this takes away the ability of the tree to intake water through the root system, and of course this is going to end up killing the tree. So overwatering, you only want to water the tree whenever it needs to, not when you want to. Depending on your climate, if it's a really hot climate, then you might need to water more often. But if you're in a place where it rains a lot, you might not even need to water the tree that often. So root rot is caused by overwatering. This is one of the big ones that really takes away your trees. Now the third reason is repotting a tree at the wrong time. So there is a time for repotting, or the best time to give the best chances of recovery for the tree. It really depends on the species. For example, for a tropical tree, it is way better to repot around summertime. That's the peak time where it is just going to give you the best chances of survival and recovery for the tree. Now, you cannot do this with deciduous trees or evergreens, because the weather being too hot and the tree already being way past being awake, this really could kill your tree. So repotting, especially pruning the roots, it is going to cause the tree to most likely die if you do it on the wrong season. For deciduous trees and evergreens, it is best suggested to do this around winter time or before the bud starts to swell. That is the perfect time, and it'll give you the best chances for the tree to survive. This is another of the big ones that I ended up making mistakes, and this killed some of my trees. But as you learn, you start knowing when is the best time to repot a tree. Now the next one is disease. Now I think this might be one of the ones that is a little bit harder to control, meaning that you cannot say, you cannot decide if you want the tree to have some type of scale or disease. This is just something that happens with nature. So you really need to learn to identify the different type of conditions that each species is more prone to having. So the most common one that I've seen on my trees is powdery mildew. This, the name says it all. it kind of looks like some powder, like white little powder on top of the leaves. And this doesn't really kill the tree quick, but it kind of takes away from the coloration of the leaves, and it ends up being bad for the tree if it starts spreading too much. So powdery mildew is the one that you'll see pretty often, caused by a lot of humidity. Now the next one is aphids. I've also had issues with aphids. Now what they do is they pretty much get attached to those inner nodes between the leaves and the bark, or sometimes on the new growth, and this is going to start sucking sap out of the tree, which is going to end up killing it slowly because it's pretty much taking away the nutrients from the tree itself. The way that you will identify aphids, one of the things, of course, you can just look through the tree once in a while, especially during summertime or late spring, and you should be able to see little scale looking things attached to the bark. Now also ants, if you see ants running up and down the tree, the whole trunk of the tree, then that's one of the big signs that you have aphids, because they pretty much work together. Aphids, they get the sap out of the tree, and in return the waste product, the ants eat that. So they work together, and of course they benefit each other because the ants will protect those aphids. So if you see ants running up and down of your tree, most likely you have aphids. Now the other one that is pretty common, and I've seen it on my trees and unfortunately has killed some of my junipers, is spider mites. Now these little things, there is two ways that you can identify these things. Just like aphids, they will suck the energy or sap out of the tree and slowly kill it. So to identify, sometimes you should see some grayish looking foliage, especially on junipers or any other conifer tree. And also you might see some spider web like. So this kind of looks like really thin spider web all over the foliage of the tree. That's how you know you pretty much have them. If you don't see any other spiders or anything like that, it's pretty much spider mites. Another thing is putting a paper underneath the foliage and just shake it a little bit and just take a quick look at the white paper. It has to be white. You should see some tiny things just running all around. Those are spider mites. So this will definitely kill your trees, and it's really hard to evade. Treat it right with the right products and you should be good to go. Now the next and last, and I think is the most important thing that is killing your bonsai tree, is patience. Whenever you don't have patience, or whenever we start doing bonsai, we don't really practice patience. What do I mean by that? So myself, I wanted to have a beautiful tree. I used to go to nurseries or purchase this pre-bonsai material, and as soon as I would get home, I would grab those clippers and start trimming a bunch of leaves and branches and start wiring and root pruning and just repotting all at the same time. There is always a time for everything. Just like I mentioned before, repotting at the wrong time is going to kill your tree. Same thing with pruning too much at the wrong time of the year. This is going to kill your tree. Wiring, not too much, but you got to be careful of that as well. So again, you really need to practice patience when you start bonsai. There is a time whenever you want to do things. Research your species of trees. Make sure that you know when is the best time to repot, to prune, light pruning, or big branch pruning, and this will give the best chances of survival for your tree. Now I hope that with these things I'm able to help you keep your tree for way longer, and just trying to help you have a beautiful tree. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you stick to the end of the video. Please subscribe, that helps a lot. Share, like the video, and also if you have any other friends that are starting to do bonsai, send them this video. Thank you so much. Have a great day.